I mean, as a dancer, I think you always have a process as well. You know, you grow up throughout your career, and I think you have a different awareness also of your body, and especially I think also the experience you make. It makes you aware of things you can do and how you develop as a dancer, but also as an artist, of course.
Fabio, it's so lovely to meet you here on Zoom.
Very nice to meet you, Petra.
Yeah, you are in Stuttgart.
I'm in Stuttgart right now, yes.
And you've been there a while. I read that you've started your career there.
Exactly. I actually started in the company in 2013, but I actually came here to Stuttgart in 2011. And I actually did my graduation here at the John Cranko school. And then after that, I got my first contract as an apprentice at the Stuttgart Ballet.
Yeah.
And it's been 10 years now.
But you're a very young choreographer. You started very young, and was this something that has always been there, in your mind, creating, and or is it something that happened at the school?
Well, it happened actually in the school. Yeah. In the John Cranko school, and it happened because the school got invited to the International Assembly in Canada, which is an amazing platform for all the academies and for all of the schools. And I think it was my last year in the school, and our director Tadeusz Matacz asked me to choreograph a piece for a few students in the school, and so it was my first time attempting to choreograph, and it was really very fascinating for me. And especially because we used to see the company, watch performances from the company as well. So always with different repertoires and different choreographers. And it was my first time actually choreographing. It was a very nice experience because I had to choreograph for students of the John Cranko School. And then we had to send the video to Canada, to Toronto. And then Toronto was going to send the video to other students from different academies in the world. For example, I had a piece for 6 dancers. So Canada sent the video to 6 different students from 6 different academies. Okay. So they had to learn their spot in the choreography so that then after, when I was going to go to Toronto, I was going to set up the piece with 6 different dancers that I've never met before. Wow. And it was an amazing experience and an amazing exchange of knowledge and people and ideas. And so it was my first attempt, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I was really young. I was 17, and yeah. The first researches of music, ideas, and movements, and it was actually still on point shoes, and because then it kind of developed somehow in the time that I kind of tried to find my own style and what I would like to try to say with my own works. So. But it was my first piece, and it was really nice, actually.
But listen, you have to tell me now, when you're 17 and your director tells you to choreograph, was there some sort of a panic going on, or did you immediately?
Well, very much indeed, and also a lot of excitement and also a lot of trust, I must say. And but it was a lot of fun. Also sharing the studio with my classmates as well, and it was a beautiful experience. And of course, I didn't want to making this up. I didn't want to disappoint him as well. It was a bit of a responsibility, of course, But of course, it was a lot of fun. Also, all of the researches that I did and. For the music and for the costumes as well, and ideas and.
So that's that really taps into your creativeness, because it's not just the dance, it's then all the visual aspects of it and the music and so on. So, but tell me, when you started in ballet, what made you do ballet? Because you're from Italy.
I'm from Italy, and I was in Italy until I was 15 years old. And then I did the audition for the John Cranko school. And I basically started actually when I was 7 years old, 7 years old. And my mom was a dancer as well, but she was doing Latino. So, and it was, I remember that she was going probably like twice a week or something like that. And I was always very curious to know where she was going. So one night I asked her, I was like, Mom, where are you going? And she was like, I'm going to dance. And I was like, can I come with you? Because I didn't know like anything about dance in general. And so I remember I went with her, and I remember it was like this huge room with a lot of people. And I remember when they started the lesson and the teacher actually started the music, I had a moment of freaking. I started dancing and I couldn't stop, and everyone stopped because there was a little stage. There was the room, and there was a little stage above, and I was on that stage by myself, and I was just dancing, like moving around like crazy, and everyone stopped. And then after the class, my mom came to me and she was like, Fabio, do you like to dance? Would you like to dance? I was like, actually, yes, I really like it. It makes me feel good. And so after that, of course, in September, then she brought me to a ballet academy in Ivrea, where actually I started, and it's called Accademia di Danza e Spettacolo di Ivrea. It's where I actually started. It's a private school. And then after that, I went to Florence when I was 14, to the Ballet Academy in Florence. And then after Florence, I actually arrived here in Stuttgart.
Wow. How wonderful that you just expressed it like that when you were young, and that your mom reacted to it. And
I was always a very active kid, and I always liked to do so many different things. And I used to swim, I used to ski, I used to do tennis, I used to do so many things that after a while, my mom was like, okay, we need to decide. You need to decide what would you like to do. And I was like, no, I would like to become a dancer. And for me, that was very clear from day one. Once I stepped in that studio, for me, that was something very magical and very special, that it's something that I always wanted to do. And still now, as today, it's something that it's my passion. It's something that I really enjoy doing it. And it's something that makes me alive, and it's something that dance in general is something that gives you always hope also in hard times. And it's almost like a ritual thing almost for me, because it's really like a moment where you connect with yourself, you connect with other people. And so it's very important, and it's very healthy as well, I find.
And how was the transition for you from going from Italy to Germany, and leaving home, and having to live your life there?
Well, it was actually very smooth, honestly. I always liked to, also when I was a kid, I always liked changes.
Okay.
I always liked changes. And so the transition actually was really smooth. Of course, I was a bit sad for my family, and I was a bit, of course, leaving, Italy to go to a different country, different language, different culture. So for me, it was a bit scary, also because I was still young, even though I was 16, but still. But it was actually really good, the transition. I arrived here in the school, and I remember that everyone was really nice, really friendly. And I really felt like the welcoming was really sweet, and they really made me feel like home. And still now, in the company, when I joined the company, for me now, Stuttgart is my family, and because of course, like me, and also other dancers and people that that had to leave their own country. You know, um,
It's usually the mums who suffer.
yeah, exactly.
and not, not
That's for sure. But it's Stuttgart, and I'm from Torino, so it's kind of very close. And
it's
also, like,
close. Yeah.
for them, it's very easy to come and visit me with the plane. So it's no, but it was actually good. And I kind of, when you're so young, you create your own kind of circle of people or family. That's that it will stay forever at the end. And it's very, very nice. And of course, it's an experience that it's unforgettable, and it's something that it gives you so much, that you get so many advices and experiences that makes you grow very quickly as well, that you always bring them with you throughout your whole career.
Well, you are now a dancer and choreographer, and
Yes.
do you find that you dance differently since you've been, that you think of it differently since you've been choreographing?
I think so, actually. I think so because, as a dancer, I think you always have a process as well. You grow up throughout your career, and I think you have a different awareness also of your body, and especially, I think, also the experience you make. It makes you aware of things you can do and how you develop as a dancer, but also as an artist, of course. And I must say that also, with being also a choreographer, it's kind of my mind is in between, that because I've been in both sides. I've been in the dancer side when I have a choreographer in front of me, and I'm also in the side where I'm the choreographer asking for things, or sharing things with the dancers. So of course, sometimes when I'm dancing, or when I'm choreographing, it's very nice because I always having this mindset. We divided in two parts of dancer part and choreographer part. So when I add the dancing, I also can kind of put that choreographer mindset when I'm working with a choreographer, so that I can understand understand the choreographer better, so that also my dancing is also different, And as well, when I'm a choreographer, I'm using my dancer's mindset to kind of understand if what I'm asking for, it could work for the dancers, or it's something that I could do also as a dancer. But definitely, I would say, yes, indeed, it changes. When it changed, yeah.
And what is it that inspires you to choreograph?
Well, there's many things actually that inspires me, and I think inspiration sometimes is also very random, and it's very, very random, and I think it's the most interesting one, because you might just be walking on the street and you just have lots of images in your head, and just get this flash, and you get inspired just by an image. And usually I get inspired mostly with music. I find music very inspiring, and because it tells a lot, and also because it helps me a lot to have a lot of images in my head, and especially it's very important for me to have a lot of images, because then when I choreograph, I have different scenes where I can, I can use. But also, I think also lately, I find very inspiring also the human behavior. Sometimes it's also very inspiring, very interesting. It can be a little bit hardcore sometimes, but us as human are also, sometimes we could also be very inspiring, and sometimes not. But then also it's something that you can tell throughout our choreography, and this choreography has a lot of power, has a big voice. And I think we should use that as well as an instrument of art, but also for communication as well, to tell a lot of different things, you know. And I think it's very, that's why I also like it, you know, because it's a way of communicating, like also like dancing, that you can say a lot of things, you know. So, and also I find it very inspiring working with the dancers. Also, when I don't have any kind of ideas and I don't have any inspiration, when I'm in the studio with the dancers, I always get very inspired, you know. And for me, it's always the most important thing is the process before actually the premiere of the creation, because it's a moment of exchanging. It's a moment of the translation of what I'm actually trying to explain to the dancers, what I would like to have. And I find it very fascinating the way the dancers, the capacity of the dancers to translate what I'm asking for. And it's very nice because it's always different of what I actually expect to be.
Oh,
because I have the feeling that we are, as people, we perceive things always in a different way, you know, because I perceive love in a different way than maybe you do, or I perceive hate in a different way that other people do. So maybe if I ask for something to a dancer and I have an image in my head of how it's supposed to be, I'm always sure that it's going to be always different from what I have in my head and how the dancer is actually showing to me. And that's, for me, is very unique, you know, because choreography always going to be different, you know. And especially in that day, it's always going to be different, you know, from the day after, because we're always in evolution. We always have in a change, you know. So it's always different. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting that you say that about the communication also through dance. And during lockdown, I spoke to many artists, and we talked about this, the fact that maybe artists don't communicate as well what they're trying to say. So sometimes somebody would compose something and they have a total different meaning as to what other people, for instance, take on. Do you think it is important that an artist like you, for example, as a choreographer, really explains the story, that you do leave something for the audience to make their own, but that you explain the sort of the core of what you're trying to say in your dance?
Well, of course, there's always a guideline, you know, because of course, where the idea came from, and you know, all the music, the set design, the costumes. And I think it's important also for the people to have at least an image, a general image. But I don't like to express too much also, and to explain too much to the people what's the piece about, and be too much detailed about. And I think it's very important because it's art. And also I think the person should be able and should also have the freedom to have their own moment of watching something, feeling something, getting something, and then making their own interpretation of what they just, you know, watched, you know. And I think it's very important for me and also for the audience, because it's a moment of freedom, that the person can have their own moment of getting something and kind of have a filter when then after the performance they kind of try to understand or make their own interpretation, you know. And I think this is very important for me. I always try not to be too much detailed also in my choreographies, because it's also nice, because everyone will feel something different, you know. And I think it's beautiful because with one piece you can give so many different things to many different people. And I think this is very, very, very important. Yes.
And do you get your inspiration through being busy, or do you get your inspiration through being a bit distant and silent?
I think being more in silence.
Okay.
I think being more in silence, I get more inspiration. Because I need my space, I need my time, and because when I'm too busy, also because I'm sometimes I'm thinking too much, so
Oh,
that
okay.
in busy situations it's not easy for me to, and also because I'm very organized. Also, I'm very organized on scheduling and rehearsing. So I need a moment of a quiet moment just to, because I think also for my mind is a bit more calmer and I can get more inspiration. My mind is more open to any kind of inspiration and I can see clearer things of what I would like to, to do. So I think calmer is the better. Yes.
So, and do you think, can I ask, what would your advice be for a young dancer who would be interested in, say, choreographing? Do you think this is something that has to be just in you, or is it something you can be trained to do?
Well, I think it can also, of course, for me, I think it's something that comes in you.
Yeah.
But I think it's also something that someone can have a hidden talent of, that it doesn't know that it has this passion, because, and it can be also trained, by experience, just by trying and trying and trying. And I think young people should really go for it. And I think because they should speak up also, because they have a voice. And I think they should really try to express themselves also with choreography, because it's a very good instrument. And it's very important for the young generation, especially in this time, that they can also use it to say a lot of things, and my advice is to try. And even though it's not something that it comes from the inside, it is not a passion that you have, but maybe it's a hidden talent, as I said before, and it can just come naturally just by experience and by making different pieces. And, because for me it was as well the same thing, because for me, still choreographing is still a process. For me, it's almost like a study, almost, to really understand where I would like to go, the style, the steps, the meaning. And it's still a process for me. It's a study also of like the things that I like the most, the things that I'm not interested, the things I would like to speak about or not, the aesthetic. So it's always a process. And also when you have a different team, you have a set design, costume design, then you absorb different, things from different artists, and also helps you a lot also for your improvement as well, I think, as a choreographer. So it's a process, and I think it can just come also with training as well,
Okay. Yeah, because I think people always forget that you have to do the first step. You have to do your first choreography, and then you do the next one, and then
because because as a dancer, and I think many dancers, they have their own favorite choreographer, and for me it was the same. Before I did my first piece, I'm such a fan of J. Kilian. I'm fan number one of J. Kilian. I love his works. And I remember when I was little, I was younger, I used to watch all of his videos, all of his interviews, Petit Mort, Bella Figura, and I've been always very fascinated. And I was like, what a genius. And I was always interested on like, how does he do that? And like, so, I think many dancers also have their favorite choreographer, as I said, and maybe they're also interested on try to do this kind of, things.
Yeah. Well, I think it was wonderful of your director to give you this opportunity, and so that you could start and explore this talent that you have.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm super grateful because I started super young, and also because I was in the school, and then after I did 3 young choreographers in the company, because we have the Novair a young choreographers evening, which is a very famous evening that it's been there for over 60 years, where the company gives the chance to the dancers of the company to choreograph, and also from people from outside. And I did 3 young choreographers, and then after the third one, I made a piece for the John Cranko school, and then I got invited to New York at the New York Choreographic Institute, and by invitation by Peter Martins. And for me, that was a beautiful experience, because I went to New York. It was my first time going to New York. And I had the chance to collaborate with a composer as well from the Juilliard, Nikki Sun. Then after 2 years, I collaborated with her again with my first commission piece for the Stuttgart Ballet here. So I got so many beautiful like opportunities, and in a very young age.
And how wonderful that it's that the composer of the music, that you worked with the composer of the music as well.
Yes, and I worked with her in New York, and because I made a piece for the Choreographic Institute, which is like I had to work with the dancers from the SIB and also dancers from the New York City Ballet. And it was like a 2 weeks experience where I had to choreograph a piece with new composition and live music as well. Wow. So it was a bit of also a big challenge. And I was also a bit stressed, to be honest, because it's live music, new composition, not so much time, but I made it. And then after that, I got my first commission piece here from Reed Andersons, our previous director of the Stuttgart Ballet. And I didn't know what to do. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to call Nikki and ask her if she wants to collaborate with me and just make some music for me. And from there we started, and it's where I actually got my inspiration for the piece. And we decided to play live. I really wanted to do something totally new. I made the costumes, new music, new costumes. What? Yes, exactly. It was my first piece. So I was like, I'm just gonna just do everything apart from the lights, that I had a wonderful light designer, Udo. So yes, it was a very nice experience for my first piece for the company. It was also different because it was my first time, not my first time, but it was my first commission piece to also work with my colleagues, So it was also, I was very young, and also be in a different position, but it was a super amazing experience.
Wow. But how talented are you to do the costumes and everything? It's amazing. But I think then you have this artwork that's exactly in your head as it is in your head, that you could do it the way you want to do it.
Yes, of course. But I think also it comes from here. I'm surrounded by a lot of inspiring and talented people, that also there's always this exchange of ideas or thoughts or things that we like or we don't like. And so you absorb so much, so you're always in constant change and in constant wanted of inspiration, so it makes you also explore different things, because, there's also there's also other choreographers in the company, that they also make their own costumes, they make sketches of their own costumes. And, it's so inspiring, and also it pushes you so much also to, to try to do this kind of things, and also it's very nice because there is always a very nice relationship also that of kind of supporting each other, and I find it very important, also to have this kind of very honest critic, and I think it's always very important, and so that's why I think I always want to push it forward, and try to also find different things. And I remember when I was in New York, we went to do, because apart from also making the piece, we also had different activities. And I remember we went to the NYU and we did a light designer course of like a 6 hours workshop. And I was like, why not? I was like, I would love to. I mean, very hard. I don't know if I now have the time, but also I was like, why not? I could also just invest some time also in, discovering and finding more things about lighting as well,
Yeah, and it gives also the understanding for, even if somebody else does the lighting, but then you have the understanding of it as well.
Exactly. Yeah, of course, like I have some experience, of course, with the lights, because I've worked with a few light designers, and of course with the light designers also of the theater, with experience, exactly the terms and like all of the technical parts and how you also speak, in their language, of course, because there's a lot of technical things that you also should know, but you also learn it by experience as well, so yes.
But it's amazing that you have such a nice, that you're all so supportive of each other. I think this is also wonderful, and for your creative processes as well.
Absolutely.
But now, Fabio, tell me, what is your wish for the future?
Well, I have different ideas for my future, and of course, I still would like to keep going with my dancer career because I'm still young and I still think I can give a lot as a dancer. At the same time, in a parallel way, I would like still to keep on with the choreography, and because I think I have also still have a lot to say. And for the future, I would love, honestly, to have my own company.
Wow.
To kind of being not, I would say, not even director, just to have a group of people of sharing just ideas and making choreographies, performances, and I think that's what I would like to aim for, to create my own kind of group of people and just kind of, I wouldn't say mostly like director, I mean, I could see myself as a director, but mostly like a group of people that, we're all in the same kind of level. And all of this sharing. So it's not just dancer and the choreographer, but I think it's also nice to create your own team of like dancers, choreographers, musicians as well, so big teams that you can create. Just I think I'd like to create like a creation environment, where you can just create different things, and I think that's
it's like a collaborative idea that you also, because I think maybe because of this pandemic, we were also more aware of the different types of art and artists and how you are all interlinked in a way with each other. So what a beautiful project that would be if you can do that.
It would be amazing. It would be amazing. I mean, you never know, but it would be amazing, and to have something, a group of people that you trust and that they trust you, and that you can create something inspiring and creative, that you can share with other people. And I think, because at the end of the day, it's all about sharing, to be honest, and it's where you get the most beautiful things, I find. Yes.
Well, I'm going to look forward to that. You let me know, but
of course,
when that happens, I think it's a great idea that you have. Yes. And I really hope this wish comes true for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, Fabio, one last question. Can you do a shout out for a coffee shop or restaurant in your area that you like to visit?
Well, I would say let's see. Well, that's a hard question. I would say there is where I come from. There is a beautiful lake,
Mm.
and it's actually a place where I got a lot of inspiration because it's a beautiful place. It's a small lake. It's close to my hometown, which is called Ivrea, and has a lake which is called Sirio, and it's beautiful because it has a little a building on top of the hill, and you can see the lake.
Wow.
And it has a restaurant and a bar, and I think it's one of the most beautiful places because, of course, it's home,
Yeah.
but it's the places where I just sit and I find total calmness and a lot of inspiration. Actually, that's one of the places that I get a lot of inspiration when I go back home, and I just have a coffee or a glass of wine there. It's very, very
Wonderful.
inspiring.
What is the restaurant called?
Well, I think it's called Ristorante Il Sirio. It's called,
Yeah.
and also the cafeteria, because it's a whole building that it's surrounded the lake, half of the kind of a quarter of the lake, and it's amazing what they build. And there is the restaurant and the bar. It's all a constructed thing with different things inside.
Sounds wonderful. I'll put the link in the description of the video as well.
Of course.
Yeah, okay. But Fabio, it was so lovely to talk to you. It's so inspirational to hear your story, and you're so young and doing all these creative works and have this wonderful wish and vision for the future. That's so great to hear.
Thank you so much. And it was very nice to meet you as well.
Yeah.
And also for the opportunity to share my story as well.
It's a pleasure. And when you come to Vienna, please let me know. Then we can meet in person.
I will for sure, because I have to come and visit a friend.
Okay.
Company, so I will come for sure as well. She's at the company with Martin Schlepfer. So
I see. Who's your friend?
She's my friend, my best friend as well. So
what's her name?
Hyo Jung-kang.
Oh, okay.
She was principal dancer here in Stuttgart, and now since last season she moved to Vienna.
Okay,
and I came to Vienna already once for the Weltstar Ballet Gala.
Yeah.
In 2000, I think it was 2019, before the pandemic. Actually, it was December, and I came with one of the principal here in the company, and I came there to dance at the Volkstheater.
Oh, I see. Okay.
One of my choreography, actually, my duet, actually, I danced.
Really?
So, yes,
okay.
Yes.
But you'll have to let me know when you come.
I will for sure.
Yeah,
Indeed.
we'll grab a coffee. Okay.
Of course.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Thank
Fabio.
You so
have a lovely afternoon.
You too as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.